super excited for this week's webathon or learnathon, hackathon, whatever you want to call it. Before we start, I actually want to do something a little different today. If anyone feels comfortable turning their mic on, I'd love to kind of hear from you and what you're hoping to learn in this week's hackathon. If you're new to Mintbean, I'd love to hear your voice and just kind of what got you interested in Mintbean. If you've been here for a while and maybe just haven't spoken up, love to hear from you as well. So don't feel shy. It's a small group. Feel free to open your mics. I'd love to hear from you.
Hi, how's it going? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you can go. I've been here before. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, hi, my name's Kent. It's my first time here. I found out about Mintbean from a meetup with the junior devs on meetup.com. And I really liked what you guys were doing for newcomers and self-learners. So I thought that I'd check you guys out since I remember Monarch saying, don't be afraid and expect to fail. So I'm expecting to fail and going in with, with open mind and hoping to learn a lot. So I'm currently based in San Francisco. I'm currently an intern for a really small company as a web developer. So yeah, I'm just really hoping to learn from what you guys have to offer.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Mintbean and congratulations on the internship. How long?
Yeah, thanks. Pretty recent, a few weeks. So very new, and I'm just, hoping to learn a lot.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, internships are fantastic, guys. If you can get your hands on, working, especially working, I feel for startup is pretty phenomenal because you don't get kind of boxed into that role of like you're only doing front end or you're only doing back end or you're only handling a small component of the code, and that's what you do. Being on a small team, you sort of end up touching everything and really growing very quickly. But that being said, make sure that there's someone on the team that is a senior developer so you do get that mentorship. Startups are a fantastic learning ground, but sometimes they're also resource strapped. So sometimes what tends to happen is, especially when you kind of get an opportunity with a small company and they don't have a senior developer on the team, it gets very difficult for a new developer to have sort of a support system. Like it's like, who do I lean on if I don't know what I'm doing? Who do I go to? Maybe the founder is non-technical themselves, and that becomes a bit of a challenge. So interview them in your interview process. There's a bit of getting to know them before they hire you as well. And of course, we can talk about this at some other point as well. But I just wanted to throw that out there because you mentioned startup, and it just raised a bit of a red flag in my head when it comes to small teams. Awesome. Anyone else who'd like to share their story?
I'm Natalie Kendrick. I've known of Mintbean for a while, but this is the first time I've actually been able to attend one of these. I am currently working in a non-tech job that is very, very labor intensive right now. We're finishing up a 3-year-long project. So this is the first time where I haven't been working during one of the startings of one of these. But I graduated from a boot camp back in December. So
you said you're in a non-tech role. You're in an unrelated software development role?
Yes. Right now I help run a credit card program for a university. So
yeah. I've been there, guys. I'm also a boot camp grad about 4 years ago, and I know the struggles. Yeah, I've seen the struggles of trying to connect with employers, and rightfully so. A lot of them don't see that, like, there's a lot of gaps that happen outside of that program, and honestly, it's not just to boot camps. It's sort of the entire gamut, whether you come from a comp sci background, or more untraditional, like self-taught, Udemy. It doesn't really matter where you're coming in from. Um, there's a lot of learning that still needs to take place, and one of the things that we created Mintbean for was so people don't end up spending 3 months or 6 months or a 4-year degree program investing their time, money, and then not ending up in the role that they wanted to, right? That kind of drove them to go into that direction in the first place. So on that note, I'm going to get started and I'm going to walk you guys through orientation. If you've been here before, I apologize if this material sounds verbatim. The orientation is really more for people who've never been to Mintbean events before, have never done a learnathon before, so they kind of get to know just how this ecosystem works. I'll try to speed it up for those of you that have been here before. Those of you that are not familiar with me, my name is Navi Man. I'm one of the co-founders here at Mintbean. I also manage a lot of the day-to-day operations here at Mintbean, as well as our sister company, Zero. Like I mentioned, I'm a second, software development is a second career for me as well. And I came from corporate finance, and it's been a crazy journey. And I was unsuccessful at getting a software development job, but I was also fortunate that at the time when I was having trouble connecting with employers, Monarch was starting his own firm and happened to need a technical PM, and sort of saw that I understood application building and I understood business. So I created my own niche, and then one thing led to another. I've been kind of leading the hiring process here, both on Mintbean as well as Zero. So I've seen how developers interact on the company side. What is it that we look for when we hire developers? What happened with my own personal journey, what happened with Monarch's journey, and that's kind of how this community was created. So just, I guess, a little bit of a history lesson on that. So today's agenda. So orientation, followed by a Hack Week prompt introduction with Monarch, and then get to know your fellow hackers. Usually we say 5 minutes, but sometimes it lasts like to 30 minutes or longer. Really depends on how long you want to allocate to getting to know the community. All right, so how does Mintbean help? There's these 3 fundamental principles that we work on. So building your portfolio, showcasing your projects, and repeating. Building your portfolio is so essential to impress employers. You can't just lean in on the projects that were built inside of your capstone projects or stuff that you did during the course. You really got to do more outside of the classroom. So this is kind of where building these pieces really play into impressing employers. You can't build these projects in silos. You've got to talk about what you're building, and social media is a fantastic tool to talk about your projects, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter. LinkedIn, a lot of recruiters and hiring managers live on LinkedIn, and Twitter is a lot of where the developer activity happens. So if both platforms are a fantastic way for you to open up your professional network and connect with people, and kind of get to see like how other developers are talking about things that they're interested in, things that they're building and passionate about. And of course, repeating, right? So you gotta keep that GitHub streak green. So how long does it take? We've experimented with our learnathons quite a number of times in the last year of running these events. We used to do them we used to do them 3 times a week for 4 hours, and they were very intense. We realized that we needed to give our developers some breathing space and a time to go to the bathroom, to eat, and then we kind of iterated on that process and made it into 3 days. We still found that it was a little bit too intensive and sort of needed maybe a little bit more tweaking. So we introduced week-long learnathons, and we provide a lot of different checkpoints during this week to help you. So this is sort of a guide of where you should be. So we have coffee and code mentor sessions throughout the week sprinkled in. So starting from the first one today, and then one tomorrow, and then one on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, and then um, I think there's two on Wednesday actually. And also, I just want to say another thing about the mentors is there's an application process for the mentors. We do a rigorous check to make sure that the mentors who apply for this program are qualified themselves to support you. So these people that are coming in as mentors, they've been through an application process. We've interviewed them, we've vetted them, and they're there because we truly believe that they have what it takes to support you all, and definitely utilize those hours. Um, Awesome. So this is sort of the checkpoints of where you should be. So project planning should be completed by Saturday. You should have your MVP, your minimal viable product, up and running by Monday. You should be ensuring a QA check, ensuring deployment by Tuesday. We also have a number of workshops that happen throughout the week that you can also participate in and take a break from hacking. And then, of course, submission deadline is on Thursday. So let's start with, how do we get started? So start with the plan. Here's our 5 steps. They're very simple. So idea, MVP, wireframing, iterate, review. So the idea, we actually give you the idea. You don't need to create the idea. We provide a lot of different suggestions of libraries and tools. And of course, Monarch will talk about how we're going to be building this week's learnathon. So I'm going to move on to the MVP actually. So as a lot of you most likely heard of this term, it's the bare bones of your idea. It's nothing fancy. Basic features your app needs to have. So the one suggestion that I would highly emphasize here is make sure that your application has the core features before you start building on quality or quantity. So just make sure it does that thing that it's supposed to do. If it's a goal tracker, that it's tracking goals. If it's a puzzle game, that it has some sort of like basic logic. You don't have to think about UX, UI at this point, but it should do that basic thing really well. And when it comes to wireframing, you don't need a fancy application. No one's asking for Figma files, InDesign files, but you should know the layout of what your application is going to look like. You can do this on a piece of paper, but before you start building, have a plan. So sort of a blueprint of your house, right? Like where is everything going to live? Where's the bathroom going to be located? Where's the entrance? Where's the back entrance, and so forth. And of course, iterate. So start with the foundation. You can't build a roof first, add to it, and make sure that everything is done well. And of course, reviewing this whole process. Bugs can cause the whole thing to collapse. But at the same time, not every single bug needs to be fixed now. So think about the fact that you have a week to do this. You can create reminders that you can come back to things later. Focus on only fixing bugs that regularly impact the user. So we highly recommend that you create landing pages. So the way that I want you guys to envision a landing page is sort of like a README doc, but for marketers. A lot of the time, your portfolio pieces, the first person who ends up interacting on the hiring side is a non-developer. It's usually a technical recruiter. And a landing page is a really great tool of getting them to understand what you've built and how to best interact with your application. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples. We actually built a build your own bootstrap last week, and I wanted to show you guys some of these fantastic examples. So this person did, it's sort of like an explanation of, it's a beautiful picture. read the docs, what the framework, what's this framework for, who might use it. Great, but it talks about the team. In this case, it was just Christopher, and get in touch. So think of it in terms of who's going to land on this page. If it's a hiring manager, then you want to make sure that you're putting your best leg forward. One thing that I think one insight I want to share here is developers sort of get judged on their design. Even though developers are not designers, what ends up happening is you can have the best application out there, but if someone who is looking to bring you in as a junior developer, if they interact with your portfolio piece and they don't see the fact that it maybe is designed beautifully, they're not going to understand the value of it. So the landing page is a great way. Think of it, honestly, it's a README doc for marketers is the best way that I can put it. I have a couple of other examples. This person built Fallout, and these are very technical projects, right? Building your own bootstrap, it's like, how do you showcase that to a potential hiring manager? Well, these are super impressive. You get to meet the creator, you get to look at the kitchen sink. This person did such a fabulous job at describing how they built example websites, customization coming soon. Maybe one recommendation is I liked how that other person had contact me. So if I was reaching out to Daniel, maybe that's a suggestion I would make for him. And then of course, even this is sort of a more simpler way. This is sort of you can even use a Wix page. I'm not sure if MZ used something out of the box for a landing page, but that's completely acceptable as well. So I wanted to show you guys that as well. So the submission portion of the learnathons happens in 3 parts. The first part is on the platform itself. You do have to be registered in order to submit on the platform. And the second part, and the most critical part, is posting on LinkedIn. And this is really, for those of you, I say this every single week, LinkedIn was invented for recruiters. It is their breeding ground. It is where a lot of them live and breathe. So, you've got to be talking about your projects on LinkedIn. So a blurb about the challenge: what technologies did you use to build them? What did you learn from building this project? Include project links. We recommend that you use the Mintbean submission link. Tag us so that we can and share it inside our own network. Use relevant hashtags, technologies, keywords. 1 to 3 minute video demoing your portfolio with audio explanations. If you're in a group, of course, tag your group mates. And I also wanted to show you guys some video demos of people who I thought did an excellent job. So Delilah built this awesome 3D web app, and I wanted to play it for you all.
Using Three.js and any free.
Sorry, I'm just gonna go back and I'm just gonna play it and then tell you guys what I really liked about it.
Hey y'all, I participated in Mintbean's weekly hackathon again, and the challenge was to create a 3D scene using Three.js and any free models that I found online. When you first load the app, you'll see instructions and credits on the screen. Some springtime background noises can also be played or paused in the upper left-hand corner. To see the original models, like those in the thumbnails, check out the creators listed here. After the credit screen, load the models by clicking this button. The scene can be zoomed or rotated using your mouse, and each of the flowers are interactive. Clicking a flower model animates it, and clicking one of the flowers will scare the bunny away. I've used Three.js to build websites before, so I took the opportunity to learn more about directly manipulating each of the models in Blender, which is a free desktop program for editing models. I resized several of the models to load into a browser faster and in the correct ratio to my landscape scene. Three.js is a super versatile library, so I look forward to building more with it in the future. Hey y'all,
Okay, so what I really, really liked about Delilah's post and her video was that she did it's short It's a minute and 8 seconds. So she doesn't, sometimes I find that with demoing, because it's your project, of course, you're going to have the tendency to like really overshare with your audience, and really talk about the nitty gritty of the things that you've built and like, oh, well, look at what this does or what that does. She kept it very, very concise. She did a walkthrough of the landing page. She went through the components and how a user would interact with it. And then she started talking about the technical side of it as well. That, hey, she had interacted with this library and then what she learned from it. So I thought she did a fantastic job. And this sort of would be my bench, in terms of if you're when you're creating your own video. Um, there's another example here, and I'm going to drop this actually in the chat, so maybe I don't end up boring you all. I'm just gonna, where's the chat? Drop it here. You guys can watch that at some point. Okay, cool. And then the third part of the submissions is that drop it on Discord. You want to make sure that the community is interacting with your work and sharing it with their own network, so that we can amplify your professional network. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Winner announcements happen every single Monday. And we post them everywhere, including our socials, including Discord. And we want to make sure that we give you spotlight for winning these amazing Learnathon projects. So what support do you get? I believe I already mentioned the Coffee and Code mentor sessions. You can find this, all this, inside the hackathon and workshop category. Everything inside current event will be about the workshops that are happening that day, or demoing, dropping your submission links would happen inside of current event. Code Mentor Help is a really great place for asynchronously to debug some of the issues that you might be noticing, and tagging the code mentors as well. And find a team if you're looking to hack along with someone, and we allow up to from anywhere from 1 to 3 participants on these learnathons. And yeah, that's the category and channels. And again, this is the schedule. So you get Coffee and Code mentor sessions begins today. I'm gonna save you guys my repetition and won't go over this again. And that's it for me. Over to Monarch. I think before maybe I pass it over to you, I did actually want to mention that we have these 2 phenomenal workshops happening this week. And they're all about getting you job ready. So the first one is from Leanne. She has 15 years of industry experience as a technical recruiter, and she's going to be doing sort of a live demo of, I believe she's going to be doing a session with Drew, who's a software. She's going to do a role play, and it's how to crush your interview prep. It's going to be pretty cool. She's a pretty phenomenal career coach. And then the second session is actually with head of engineering at Lupin, Alex. And he has a really interesting story. He doesn't come from a comp sci background. He's self-taught, and within, I believe, 10 years, he's gone from not knowing anything to being head of engineering. And he's going to be talking about his journey. He's going to be talking about getting your first engineering job and why founders aren't hiring you. So I'm really looking forward to those 2 talks next week. That's it for me.
All right, I guess that's over to me then.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Everybody, thank you for showing up today. Really, really, really excited about the crowd. I'm going to go through the challenge that I have put together for you guys. I am the technical co-founder of Mintbean, and I'm the one who puts together the challenges. So I'm really excited to present today's challenge to you. Let's go. If you guys can't see my screen, y'all should tell me right now. Today is a desktop puzzle, as you guys already know. That's what you guys are here for. If you head on over to Kanban, that's that little tab on the left over there, and click the Unlock Kanban button, which should show up if you haven't unlocked it yet, then this screen will show up. And for every single hackathon, we put together a basic Kanban board so you guys can keep track of your progress. And it helps us to really explain at some length what today's challenge is all about. Today's challenge is gonna be really cool. It's gonna help you build your algorithm skills, but it's also gonna help you build a really impressive project that you can sell to recruiters and it'll help you find a job. It's video games are a great way to really show off your coding skills because video games are difficult to code. They're not the simplest things to code. So today's challenge is open-ended. And what that means is you can build any kind of puzzle you want, but I know that that's kind of hard to come up with suggestions, especially in just a week-long hackathon. So there are suggestions that have been put together for you today. Let me walk through the tickets and I'll show you guys what I mean. So starting from the top, hi, have we helped you grow? So if you guys have been here before, if you guys are just getting to know us, there are a bunch of ways that you can give back to Mintbean. This is a 100% free program, and 100% free programs like Mintbean are really hard to find, especially ones where senior developers like myself come in and mentor junior developers. Usually people ask for money for this kind of thing. We're a tiny little scrappy bootstrap startup. Nabi and I have put our life savings into this business, and we are trying to grow while keeping the community completely free for all of you guys. So because we're a hidden gem and people still don't know who we are, it would be amazing if you guys could share our events and like and follow us on socials. Bring your friends and tell your instructors and your colleagues and classmates about us. Would be really awesome. And now that you have my spiel, I'm going to move this. I should have moved it into in progress. I'm going to move it over into done. That's marked as complete. And let's go into getting started. This is boilerplate stuff as well. More info if you're a first timer. You've probably seen this before if you've been here before. So I'll move that into done as well. The next question over here now is, well, how are you going to build this? Right, you can build this in a web framework, Vanilla.js, Phaser.js. If you guys decide to go with React or Vanilla to build your desktop puzzler, then you guys can definitely use that. Create React app is great. You can use Webpack, you can use Rollup, Parcel Bundler, Snowpack. You can use Vue, you can use anything. Up to you, totally up to you. As long as you're not building this in Unity or Unreal or a professional game development engine, you can use pretty much any JavaScript framework. If you want to try a really cool framework, Phaser.js is an amazing framework, and it's fast, it's fun, it's free, and it's open source, and it's a full desktop and mobile HTML5 game framework. It's free open source, and it lets you build really cool games, including puzzlers. So if you want to try that, then we have a starter project over here at Mintbean. You can go over here and you can fork this one. And you can either fork it or clone it locally and upload it to your own repository. I don't mind. It's completely free for you guys to use. And there's a list of resources over here. You can get open. If you go to OpenGameArt, you can get free assets. If you go to itch.io, you can go and get more assets over there. If you guys go down the Phaser.js route, a lot of people in the community already know Phaser because we do a lot of Phaser-based hackathons. So if you ask for questions about React, Phaser, it doesn't matter which single page application framework you pick. If you pick Phaser, if you use 3JS and if you want to make it 3D, that's cool too. If you ask questions in the Mintbean Discord, which I hope you're a part of, then you're going to be in good company over here. If you use Phaser, the documentation is confusing. Phaser.js is best learned by looking at examples. So just a heads up, Phaser.js is best learned by looking at examples. If you use Phaser.js, you will get frustrated by looking at documentation. Just look at examples. There's so many of them, and you'll be fine. I promise you. It's a great, easy library. Cool. So I'll move that over into done. I'll talk about the home page. of course. But here are the rules for today's Learnathon. It's open-ended. You can create any kind of game you want as long as it is turn-based. So no real-time puzzler games. A countdown timer is fine. Time limit is fine. But they have to be turn-based. And it has to be built in JavaScript web text. So like I said, no Unity, no Unreal, Phaser, and similar frameworks are fine. And if you're looking for a suggestion, a 15 puzzler is a great way to build this, or an 8 puzzler, if that's your jam, if you want to keep it easy. This is, you're supposed to sort the tiles in ascending order from top left to bottom right. And that's a great way to, well, twist your brain. Okay, and then there, I won. So that's a great way to twist your brain. It's a nice little way to learn the algorithm you need to build this. And then you can go and expand it into a 15 puzzle, maybe even a 48 puzzle if you really want to. And maybe you can even make it configurable like this. If you want a basic code example, I've included one. I've coded it up myself. You can go in here and you can see how to build a basic board and print it out. So I've given you the logic in the JavaScript tab on CodePen. In that link, you'll see the logic for actually creating the board. And it's a little 15-line snippet that's really easy to understand. So you guys can take a look at that. If this is something that you're super new at, then just copy this 16-line little snippet, put it in your code. I won't be mad. And you guys can get started from here. Mintbean's hackathons, we give you the direction to get started, but every single one of our hackathons are open-ended at the end. So you get a lot of structure to get your project started, which is usually the hard part for a lot of people, including myself sometimes. And by the end of the week, you'll probably have a lot of creative ideas on how to take your project forward. So follow the instructions. You'll be fine. If you're not the creative type, or if you think you're not the creative type and you want to just start with this, if this is the first time you're doing a game and you just want to build something simple, this is a great way to just get started. I've seen implementations that are about 40, 50 lines long. And I'm pretty sure if you give it a shot, you won't be, you can't go wrong with a simple 15 puzzler. Cool. So now that's done. If anybody has questions, drop them in chat and I'll address them at the end of this monologue. The next section, as Navi mentioned, is we need a homepage. Not going to go into details, but there's a framework over here in this Kanban ticket that will help you. You want to have an above the fold, an explainer, and a team section. All the information you need is over here. If you're in a team, one person can just go and start building the homepage while two people or the other person is going and building game logic. So that's a great way to split up work. Part of the reason Kanbans exist is so you can split up work. So just share what you guys want to do, figure out who's going to do what ticket, just communicate with your teammates and decide how you're going to do this. If you're not in a team, you can get in a team. If you go over to Discord, you can click this button on the bottom left. It says join the conversation on Discord, and it'll take you to our Mintbean Discord. And right here, if you go into find a team, then there are a few people who are already looking for teams. Yes, it is the 19th. A few people are already looking for teams, and you guys can chat amongst yourselves and find teammates. If you are a team of 2 and you want to have a third, you can do that over here. If you're just a solo person, a solo coder, and you want a team, you guys can do that over here. If you have a team and you don't want to be in a team, then you can find replacements for yourself over here. So whether you want to join a team or dump your team, this is a great place to do it. Going back to the Kanban. So that's the home page. I'm going to move that to done. Here are a few tricks to make your game fun, regardless of what kind of puzzle you're making. You want to build constraints and you want to make those constraints super clear. So win conditions, lose conditions, and easy UX UI will make your game really shine. So here are some tricks. If there's a timer involved, it adds some pressure. As long as the timer is somewhat generous and won't run out on everybody all the time, a timer is a great way to add a constraint. A count up timer, so stopwatch, is actually sometimes way better than a count down timer because it adds pressure without creating a loose condition, which is arbitrary. So a count up timer is actually something that is low pressure, but competitive people will appreciate if you're counting how long it took them. You do need a win condition for a puzzler. So for example, you need to sort all the numbers and the win condition should be clear. For example, when you start the game, a pop-up says, sort the numbers. For the loose condition, maybe you have a maximum number of moves. Maybe you need to finish your puzzler in 200 moves and the loose condition should be intuitive. So maybe you have a little counter that counts up to 200. And if you run out of moves, or maybe if you run out of time, then you lose. If you make the win and lose conditions clear and intuitive, people will really love your game. It's super easy to make people love a game, especially a puzzle game. All you have to do is add a timer, add a lose condition, some constraints. And when people lose or win, then make sure there's a button they can press to easily restart the game. That keeps their flow going and gets them, really addicted to the game because now you've won or you've lost. You just hit the restart button and then you can fall right back into it. And that keeps people playing your game over and over again. When you get a recruiter to play your game over and over again, they really like that because that means you've done a really good job in building a game. You must be a smart software developer. Of course, they would call you. So I've actually gotten calls from recruiters early in my career. I made a Tetris game. And I remember this recruiter called me up and said, man, I couldn't stop playing your game. That's why I'm calling you. So that's how I know. None of this is necessary, but adding these rules makes it relatively certain that your game is fun. There are a bunch of stretch goals. You can build a puzzle game. You can build more puzzle games. You can implement multiplayer. You can implement chat. You can build a scoreboard. You can add a share button, like a social share button. A bunch of ways to do it, but stretch goals are stretch goals. I wouldn't start with multiplayer unless your game really depended on it. I would just start with single player and then refactor to add multiplayer later on. And don't forget to join next week's hackathon. We are also building a game next week. And next week, we're going to be building a virtual escape room game. So escape rooms, if you guys are all locked down like we are in Toronto, I think we're in the middle of a lockdown, but we're playing it safe and we're not going out too much. And we're heading back into a lockdown from what I heard. You probably want to escape from your own mind and your own house. Why don't you build a virtual escape room game and you can do both? Well, maybe not from your house, but you can escape from a room, which is also fun. And if you can use all the skills that you learned in this hackathon, especially if you did Phaser.js, to build an escape room game. So you can sign up right here. If you click on that, it'll open up the next week's hackathon. You can register right now by just clicking the register button, and we will send you email reminders to make sure that you know that this thing is coming up. That way you won't forget. And because it's a week away, you guys can actually invite your friends right now and give them a bit of a heads up and let them prepare for it. Cool. That's pretty much all I got. And now my Kanban is done. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to take a look at chat and I'm going to answer questions. Cool. Okay. So I explained what a 15 puzzler is. So Kent, thanks for the question. Can you clarify turn-based? So do you mean multiplayer or just that there should be a start and end to each action? So I mean that there should be a start and an end to each action. So if it's multiplayer, you're gonna have to build something that is that starts and ends for each person sequentially. So if you're doing, let's say, multiplayer Sudoku, then maybe you're taking turns doing Sudoku, like a cooperative Sudoku game. Maybe you're taking turns one after the other. So there has to be a start and an end to each action. And if somebody really wanted, they could actually count each discrete action. So no real-time physics is what I'm saying. I guess you could build Flappy Bird. No, not Flappy Bird, sorry. Angry Birds. I guess you could build Angry Birds, like a physics-based puzzler, kind of, sort of. I guess you could do that. But that's also turn-based because you're taking turns whacking the obstacles. So I am new to hackathons. Do we have to stay online for the whole event? Are there specific hours? It is completely asynchronous. You don't even have to show up for feedback day. But there are so many different resources that we have for you. We have multiple different code mentor hours, and we also have feedback days where I'll give you feedback on your project myself. And if you guys show me your code and show me little snippets of your code, as a senior developer, I can give you feedback on your code as well. First come, first serve. So to answer your question, no, you don't have to stay online. You can just go about doing your regular stuff. And if you finish early, that's fine. You're done early. Most people will probably be pretty dedicated to the hackathon, though. I think Navi agreed with me. I hope. And do we have to attend the code mentor sessions? Nope. This is not a dictatorship. Or are they just there in case we need help? Yep. And make sure we're heading in the right direction. Yep. And cool. All right. I think I got to the end of the questions. That's me. Do we need to book them or just show up? Just show up. No need to book. If anybody has any, I should let you guys know, after the learnathon is over, there are other resources when you're not doing the learnathons. We recommend you do as many as possible because it really exposes you to new problems and helps you overcome them. So you're building muscle. It's kind of like going to the gym and doing weightlifting, but for your brain. But if you have any questions about careers, then we have a channel for that called Career Questions. People ask questions all the time about careers, resumes, interviews, the job hunt process, the kinds of jobs you can find in JavaScript, anything you can think of. If you have technical questions, we have a coding questions channel. We have React and JavaScript channels. We also drop job opportunities from time to time that come in through our network. And there's an architecture channel. There are tons of resources in Discord. It is very active, and I'm there all the time. So you can ask questions over here. You can show off your work, and people do that all the time. The Dev Collective, I might tell you guys about that a little later, but the Dev Collective actually published NPM packages this week, and they're super proud of that. So they were showing off how they got coaching from me directly, and they published NPM packages. So that was really cool. You can show off your own work and show off. If you're feeling down, there's the mental health channel. There's the inspiration channel where people share inspirational quotes and images. If you guys want to be involved in growing the community and in deciding the direction of the community gardening channel is where we co-create the future of Mintbean. So if you have any feedback and if you want to be more involved in coming up with new programs or just running something yourself, if you want to run a workshop or if you want to run a recurring series of, I don't know, Among Us games or something like that, and you want to make friends, the community gardening channel is a great place to do that. And if you just want to yell at us and tell us, hey, you messed up, this is a great place to do that too. So we take feedback and we ask for feedback all the time over here. The events tab is where you want to be for this event. So we have Code Mentor Hours, current event. You're not supposed to see Code Mentor layer. That's private to Code Mentors, et cetera, et cetera. We have more than 2,000 members now. We've been growing so much, and I've been having the time of my life. This is so much better than having a corporate job. I will tell you that. Cool. All right, that's me. Navi, back to you.
That was awesome. I want to, before we move on to Discord, because we usually do getting to know the community on Discord, we find that Zoom is actually like really shitty at like breakout rooms, for a lack of a better word. This is a really good chance to maybe open up the floor for Q&A before we head over to the Discord voice channels. So for a couple of minutes, we'll just kind of open up Q&A. If there was something that maybe was too long to type out on the chat, this is a good time to just ask the question. Maybe you're thinking it and someone else is thinking the same question and they don't want to ask. So go for it.
I have a quick question if anyone, unless anyone else would like to go. Manaka, I noticed when you first booted up your screen share, that there was a web page for art or like open source art for the tiles or games. What was that resource?
Was that for me?
I think so.
Okay. Art? What kind of art?
I think it was just like maybe resources for the game tiles.
Oh yeah. Was it Open Game Art?
Yes.
Yeah, opengameart.org. If you want to get to, so there's a Git repo with a phaser.js template, and I believe it has hot reload. I haven't touched this in a few months, but this is a phaser.js template, and you can find that in one of the hackathon cards. Let me quickly find out where it is here. So if you click on the web framework vanilla.js or phaser.js thingy Kanban card, then you can click the fork the starter project thingy, and then there's that, and there are a couple of other thingies there. I'm saying thingy a lot. Yeah, thingy. Any other questions?
We have a friend who refers to everything as thingy. Like it's everything. Everything is a thingy in his world. That sounds so inappropriate.
Are you talking about me? Am I your friend here?
You're not my friend here. Not the friend that I'm referencing to. Awesome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question about the mentor help. So it's I'm guessing it's sort of a group discussion, or is it it's sort of a AMA for the mentor for that day?
It's kind of like an AMA, so you can you can use it as a group discussion. It's pretty informal. What happens is somebody who is pretty good at coding shows up, and you can ask them questions. They're all volunteers, so be sure to thank them. We have a really amazing group of code mentors. If you'd like to be a code mentor, please reach out. And there's always room. Once every few weeks, a spot opens up, and Navi can help you get set up. No. So I don't know what that process looks like. I don't know if I was supposed to say that or not. I'm pretty sure it was kosher, but yeah. So code mentor help is pretty open-ended.
No, you're fine.
Cool. Is the code mentor help Discord channel where we need to show up, or is it another online place? Navi, it's in the Discord channel, and we drop Zoom links, right?
Yeah, so we try to drop a 10-minute reminder in the Code Mentor help. Usually that's where they drop the Zoom link, but we try to kind of do it in the code current event channel as well, just to make sure that, you know, maybe just weren't active in that channel. Yeah, we do a 10-minute check, but we avoid using the @everyone. There's a lot of communities on Discord, and it can get annoying really, really fast. So if you want to turn on, play with your notifications and like turn them on, turn them off, feel free to do that. But you know, we try not to use @everyone, just so that you're not annoyed by Mintbean. I think someone has their hand up, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it
I
was
do.
Ohad. Oh, yeah,
Well,
go
I'm actually Drew. I'm just, I couldn't log in, so Ohad sent me his link because he's my teammate. That's why there's three Ohads, actually. Anyway, my question is, I just want to clarify, are we supposed to be making our puzzle is like these tiles that could be, you know, a certain number, or could it be, you said, you know, Sudoku, which is kind of similar in structure, or could it be a different type of puzzle? I just wanted to make sure before we start planning that I understand that clearly.
Great question. You can build anything. You can build a picture puzzle. You can build Sudoku. The 15 puzzler, the number sorting puzzle, that was a suggestion, and there is a little bit of code that I've provided in case somebody, you know, is building their first puzzle and wants some help. So I'm sure a lot of people will end up building the 15 puzzler, but you can build anything that you'd like as long as it's turn-based.
Okay, great, thanks.
Cool. And Ohad, I think the real Ohad, not Drew, asked like a picture puzzle, and the answer is yes. And then Drew is not Ohad, and she's raising her hand again. What's up?
I was trying to lower my hand. I'm sorry. It's getting really confusing now.
Boolean logic, Boolean logic.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, perfect. I guess that's it, guys. Let's head over to Discord and get to know each other a little bit better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.